end, I didn't think I was ever going to quit drinking. I thought it had a hold of me. I thought that was the way I was going to die. And at the end, I did want to die and every morning I'd wake up and I'd be like, why can't I just die? And I don't know.
Sometimes it was just so overbearing that I started to use. And it got worse and worse and worse to the point that I made judgments about the dregs of society. I became one of them.
The homelessness piece of it is that it could be anybody. Somebody can lose their job and they can end up in their car. They can end up from their car and onto the streets or in the shelters. And it's happening right now before our very eyes.
I went to university to take my BA in psychology. I ran my own window cleaning business. I actually had a car. I had a home. I had possessions. Things were just going great. And I remember I moved out of a program that I was in thinking, I could finally do it on my own. And within a day, just having that freedom, I was out drinking and I lost everything within about 2 weeks. I lost everything. I was back on the street.
I've spent my whole career in addictions, mental health, homelessness, some fashion in one of those areas, or a combination of. And I saw this thing happening over and over, and it was causing me, sleepless nights. I was concerned. And what that was is seeing clients come from the streets to seek treatment for their addictions. And then they do really well in treatment, and then at some point it's time they get discharged, whether they're done their treatment or there's just they can't stay forever and it's time to go, whatever. Back to the streets they went. And 6 months later, they're back on the wait list to come back to treatment, and just keep going this vicious cycle. Streets, treatment, back to the streets, treatment, and they were getting deflated and defeated and loss of hope, and they were dying. They were dying.
I feel that nobody can get their life back on track if they don't have, a place to call home, right? Living in a shelter, staying in places like that is living in a lot of fear, right? You're continually looking over your shoulder. Other people, they'll do anything to get their drug of choice.
I've seen lots of people get punched out. Somebody gets punched out in the bathroom. Every morning the bathroom is just littered with toilet paper, puke, blood. And you have to use that facility in the morning to clean up. There's always arguing, swearing, and then you don't know what you did the night before or who you talked to, so you always gotta watch your back, making sure it's just, I don't know, it's scary. You gotta be a pretty strong person to do that, or be drunk so you don't even understand what's going on.
And they, quite often victimize each other. So there's no safety in that. And having a home, gives you that stability where you do feel safe.
So I developed Keys to Recovery with what I thought was needed, but also with what the clients were telling me was needed, which was non-judgmental support in housing. So not just dropping them off in an apartment, paying partial rent, and then and saying, see you later, have a great life. This was building a relationship, supporting in whatever way they needed, and helping them stay sober, maintain their housing, but really, reclaim their spot back in the community.
When they open that door and they have that safe place to go into, and that is their home for the first time in their lives, it's the most unbelievable sense of relief that you see on somebody's face. There is nothing like it. And we've had clients that haven't been housed in 20 some odd years. they've been living on the streets and they've been living on mats and they've been living in shelters, and they have to actually integrate back to sleeping in a bed. They go into an apartment, have their own apartment, and sleep on the floor. So a big, huge integration is going from the floor onto the bed and knowing that that place is theirs and that nobody is going to kick them out of that home. We're not there to judge them. We're not there to be Gestapos. We're not there to monitor them 24/7. We're there to give them a home, life experience, life skills, have wraparound case management services so that they can integrate back into society, right? And that is their home, and they don't have to leave it. They can fix it up. You'll have some people that won't even unpack the boxes because they think that it's going to be taken away from them. So when you go in and you see that they have pictures on the walls and plants growing and they're sleeping in their bed and this is their home, they can't believe it.
Keys to Recovery has helped me so much and stood by me when I couldn't stand up myself.
There isn't a program like us, and it's so important for people to see that there's not only is there addictions issues, there's mental health and the homelessness all put together. Once you get through and stabilized in your recovery, some people that's when things start showing up. Like once the effects wear off of the addictions is when the mental health starts to surface.
I just thought, I was just pure alcoholic, pure drug addict. I didn't know I had, another issue with my disease, I guess.
If you want to stay clean, you gotta work on the inside, both your head and your heart, to be a better person and to keep your clean time.
The majority of our clients have mental health issues with no support. And that is where we need to go, is get them the proper psychiatric support. It's very difficult to get them an assessment and diagnosis in Calgary.
I haven't had my depression treated until like 2 weeks ago. And it's taken me at least 4 or 5 months before I got even to see a psychologist or even a psychiatrist, because I know I have some mental problems, like really with depression and just motivation. So it's just a long wait.
The wait list can be anywhere from 8 months to a year, and symptoms continue on in those times, and it's very hard to stay sober when you're dealing with those symptoms, or whether it's depression or the mania from bipolar, or a common one is post-traumatic stress disorder, and they're fighting those demons sober now. And it's hard to stay sober when that's going on. So we hope that we can get that psych support that we need for our clients.
I wasn't sure where I was standing with my mental health. I knew there was something wrong just because of, like I say, the motivation. Just trying to get out of bed and to do something to better my life. It just wasn't happening. Now I do have that.
When you're so broken, it's the most amazing feeling having that kind of unconditional love. It really is. I can't thank them enough.
Once I got in here though, it was nice to be settled and to have a place called my own. Nice to have support from Keys coming around, check, see how I'm doing, instead of, here, there's a place to live.
So you can be a screw up and they still love you no matter what.
Today I made a choice not to drink, not to die. I don't want to die on a mat. I don't want to die on the street.